I was working the front desk at a boutique hotel in Copenhagen when an American couple checked in at 11 p.m. The woman immediately asked where the ice machine was. I explained that European hotels don't typically have ice machines. She stared at me like I'd said we don't have running water. Her husband asked how they were supposed to keep their drinks cold. I pointed out that our minibar had a refrigerator. She said that wasn't the same because she needed ice for her water bottle. Room temperature water, she explained, doesn't hydrate you properly. She'd read it in a wellness blog. When I offered to bring ice from the bar, she asked if we could install an ice machine on their floor. We were a 12-room hotel. She wanted to speak to facilities management about American comfort standards. I was facilities management. She asked if Denmark had building codes because this seemed like a health violation. Most people just chuckle at these stories. The few who subscribe start noticing how these cultural logic loops repeat everywhere. I track it full-time so you don't have to, and share the patterns that most miss. Last summer, an American tourist in Rome stood in our gelateria for 10 minutes, demanding a cup holder for his cone. We don't have cup holders. They're ice cream cones. He insisted that in America, every ice cream shop provides cup holders for safety reasons. He asked if Italian insurance covered melted gelato on clothes. At a cafe in Amsterdam, a woman asked why we don't have to-go cups larger than 215 ml. I explained that most people sit and enjoy their coffee. She said Americans are busy people and need real portions. She ordered 4 small cups and complained about waste. And that was just Tuesday. I worked at a restaurant in Stockholm for 3 years. One afternoon, an American family came in and immediately asked for water. Normal request. I brought a bottle of still water in glasses. The father looked confused and asked where the ice was. I explained we don't automatically serve ice water in Sweden. He said that in America, ice water is free and unlimited, so it must be an international standard. He asked if Sweden follows FDA guidelines. I told him the FDA is American. He said that's exactly why we should follow them since America invented food safety. The mother joined in. She explained that ice kills bacteria and room temperature water can make you sick. She'd learned this from a cruise ship safety video. When I explained that Swedish tap water is among the cleanest in the world and doesn't need ice to be safe, she asked if our restaurant had been inspected recently. She wanted to see health certificates. I brought our spotless inspection report from last month. She looked at it and said she couldn't read Swedish. So how could she trust it? She asked if there was an English version for American tourists. Our health department only does Swedish documents. She suggested we print American flags on our menus so tourists know it's safe to eat here without ice. Her teenage son asked if he could just go behind the bar and get ice himself. I said no. He offered to tip me extra. I explained tipping doesn't work that way in Sweden, and our bar area is staff-only for safety reasons. The father said this was exactly why America has better customer service, because we're willing to pay extra for basic human rights. Ice water, he clarified, is a basic human right under the Geneva Convention. I'm fairly certain it isn't. They stayed for 2 hours and asked for ice refills 7 times. We don't have ice refills. We barely have ice. They left a 1-star review saying Sweden is stuck in medieval times. The review included a photo of their water glasses without ice as evidence. I managed a small cinema in Prague showing independent European films. An American woman bought a ticket and immediately asked where the cup holders were. I pointed to the simple holders built into the armrests. She said those were too small for American drinks. She was holding a 500 ml bottle of Coke from our concession stand, our largest size. She asked if we sold proper American-sized drinks. I explained that 500 ml is standard in Czech cinemas. She said in America, a small drink is 32 ounces, which is about a liter. She needed that much liquid for a 90-minute film, or she'd get dehydrated. When I explained we don't offer larger sizes, she bought 3 bottles and asked for a bag to carry them. She tried balancing all 3 in the tiny cup holder. 2 fell over during the previews. She came out after 15 minutes demanding a refund because the seats weren't designed for adequate hydration. She said, "American cinemas understand that humans need liquids to survive." She asked if Czech Republic had smaller humans that required less water. She suggested we study American ergonomics. She wanted corporate contact information. We were an independent cinema. I was corporate. She wrote an angry email to the Prague Tourism Board about accessibility issues. She claimed that European cup holders discriminate against Americans who have normal-sized hands and normal hydration needs. She suggested they mandate American standard cup holders for international visitors. The tourism board forwarded her email to me with just a question mark. I ran a bike rental service in Amsterdam. An American man wanted to rent a bike for the day. Simple transaction, until he asked about the water bottle holder. Our city bikes don't have water bottle holders. They're basic Dutch bikes, just pedals and handlebars and a basket. He said he needed constant access to hydration while cycling. I suggested he put his bottle in the basket. He said that wasn't secure enough. What if he hit a bump? In America, he explained, all bikes come with specialized holders that prevent spillage and maintain optimal drinking temperature. I offered to sell him a clip-on bottle holder for €5. He examined it and said it looked flimsy. He asked if it was American-made. It was Chinese. He said Chinese holders don't meet American safety standards for hydration devices. He wanted a guarantees that his water wouldn't get warm. I told him I couldn't guarantee the temperature of water. He said in America, bike shops take full responsibility for hydration quality. He asked if we had insulated holders. We didn't. He asked if Amsterdam had any American bike shops that understand proper cycling hydration. He ended up not renting a bike. Said European cycling infrastructure wasn't designed for serious athletes who need constant water access. He was planning to bike around the city for 2 hours. He left to find an American-style sporting goods store. There aren't any in Amsterdam. He spent his afternoon Googling Amsterdam hydration crisis instead of seeing the canals. If you can spot the absurd patterns in behavior like this, you already think differently. Most creators react. I research. Subscribers see the difference and catch it before it happens again. I worked reception at a hostel in Lisbon during summer. The building was from the 1800s with thick stone walls that kept it naturally cool. An American guest came down at midnight complaining that his room was hot. It was 24 degrees Celsius inside, which is comfortable. He said he needed it at 68 degrees Earth, which he calculated was about 20 degrees. I explained our hostel doesn't have individual room thermostats, just ceiling fans. He asked how that was possible in the modern world. I said our building stays cool naturally, and fans work fine. He said that in America, even budget motels have AC units you can control yourself. He asked if Portugal had electricity. When I confirmed we have electricity, he asked why we weren't using it properly. He explained that Americans invented air conditioning and we should follow their example. I pointed out that AC was invented over a century ago, and many buildings in Lisbon are designed for passive cooling. He said passive cooling sounds like giving up. He wanted me to bring a portable AC unit to his room. We don't have portable AC units. He offered to buy one and expense it. I said he couldn't install appliances in the hostel. He said he'd leave it as a donation when he checked out so future Americans wouldn't suffer. He spent the next day researching Portuguese building codes and sent me a long email about how Lisbon is violating international comfort standards. He cited American hotel guidelines as if they applied to European hostels. He asked if the EU has a comfort czar he could contact. He wanted to file a formal complaint about thermal negligence. He stayed 3 more days and complained about the temperature every single morning. It never went above 25 degrees Celsius inside. He left a review warning Americans to bring their own cooling devices because Europe doesn't believe in temperature control. I worked at a university in Oslo as a student advisor. An American exchange student came to my office in January wearing shorts and a t-shirt. He was shivering. He said his dorm room was freezing and he couldn't figure out how to turn up the heat. I asked what temperature it was set to. He said he didn't know because the thermostat was in Celsius and he doesn't speak metric. I explained that 24 hours is standard room temperature, which is about 70 degrees. He said that's not warm enough. In Florida, his dorm was kept at 74 degrees year-round. He needed that exact temperature or he couldn't study. I showed him how to adjust the radiator in his room. He asked why it wasn't automatic. I explained that Norwegian buildings use efficient heating systems that you adjust manually. He said manual temperature control seems primitive. In America, he told me, thermostats are digital and precise. He asked if Norway was struggling financially, and that's why we couldn't afford proper heating systems. Norway has one of the highest GDPs per capita in the world. He asked why we weren't spending it on American-style climate control. The real issue emerged when he explained that his body was calibrated to American temperatures. He'd lived his whole life in climate-controlled environments at exactly 74 degrees. His body couldn't adapt to 21 because he'd never experienced temperature variation. He asked if the University Health Center could help him recalibrate. I suggested wearing warmer clothes. He said he shouldn't have to change his clothing just because Norway hasn't figured out heating yet. He wore shorts for 3 weeks before finally buying a sweater. He told everyone that Norwegians must have different body temperatures than Americans. I managed a vacation rental in the Scottish Highlands. An American couple booked for a week in October. First day, they messaged saying the cottage was uninhabitable because there was no central heating. We have central heating. They meant we don't have a wall thermostat they can set to their preferred temperature. The heating is controlled by radiators in each room with individual valves. The husband said this system was too complicated. In America, one thermostat controls the whole house. He asked why Scotland was still using radiators like it's the Victorian era. I sent detailed instructions on how to adjust each radiator. The wife responded that this required too much effort. She said Americans are on vacation and shouldn't have to manually regulate temperature in multiple rooms. She asked if we could install a smart thermostat connected to their phones. The cottage is heated by an oil boiler. Smart thermostats don't work with our system. She said that proves the system is outdated. In America, she explained, everything is smart and automated. She asked if Scottish people just walk around cold all the time. The husband called me asking about liability. He said if they got hypothermia, would our rental insurance cover it? It was 18 degrees inside. That's not hypothermia weather. He said in America, temperatures below 72 degrees are considered unsafe for elderly people. They were both 45. He asked if Scotland has heating regulations. I explained that UK building codes require adequate heating, which the cottage has. He said adequate isn't the same as comfortable. He wanted to speak to Scottish Parliament about updating heating standards to match America. They checked out after 3 days, said the cottage was beautiful, but they couldn't relax without proper climate control. They left a review saying Scotland is lovely, but bring your own thermostat. Several Americans commented asking if thermostats work in Scotland, or if the cold breaks them. I worked at a pharmacy in Brussels for 8 years. One morning, an American man came in looking distressed. He asked if we sold heating pads. We do. He examined the box and asked why it didn't plug into the wall. I explained it was a chemical heating pad that activates when you open it. He said those are for camping, not for real injuries. In America, proper heating pads plug into outlets so you can control the exact temperature. He needed 105 degrees for his back pain. He showed me a photo of his American heating pad with a digital display and timer. I showed him our electric heating pads. He looked at the simple dial controls and said these weren't precise enough. His physical therapist prescribed exactly 105 degrees for 20-minute intervals. These pads just had low, medium, high settings. He asked how Belgian doctors handle pain management without precise temperature control. I said most people adjust the setting until it feels comfortable. He said comfort isn't scientific. His American doctor used thermal imaging to determine the optimal healing temperature. When I suggested he try the medium setting, he asked if I was medically qualified to give that advice. I'm a licensed pharmacist. He said that in America, pharmacists wouldn't recommend guessing at therapeutic temperatures. He wanted scientific documentation about the exact Celsius temperature of each setting. We don't have that. The manufacturer just lists it as adjustable heat. He said that would never fly with American medical standards. He asked if Belgium has an FDA equivalent. We have the European Medicines Agency, which oversees the entire EU. He said that sounds like too many countries to regulate properly. He ended up buying the chemical heating pad for camping emergencies only. He said he'd rather manage pain naturally than risk imprecise European heating technology. He asked if Brussels has any American medical supply stores. There aren't any. He left saying he'd warn other Americans about Belgium's unregulated heating pad situation. I watched him walk away, probably headed somewhere to complain about how we don't refrigerate eggs, or put ice in drinks, or control our thermostats properly. The heating pad he didn't buy costs €8 and works perfectly fine. Millions of Europeans use them daily without knowing the exact temperature. But somewhere right now, another American is explaining to a confused German pharmacist why Fahrenheit is more precise for medical equipment. And I'm glad it's not my shift. This is exactly the kind of reality-bending perspective I map weekly. If you see the world like this, the channel's already yours. Subscribing isn't for me. It's for staying 3 moves ahead of cultural chaos.